boxing skills are sublime. No doubt he's pound for pound one of the best on the planet Earth. Crawford is the real deal.
Terence, Bud Crawford can't beat no Canelo Alvarez. I beg to differ. He gonna smash Canelo Alvarez, man. I'm telling y'all right now.
Honestly, like, as of right now, I think Bud to beat Canelo. It's not gonna switch. There's nothing that's gonna change what I feel.
Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman point out a critical flaw in Canelo Alvarez's style. It could prove costly against Terence Crawford. They argue that Canelo is not as dominant as many fans claim, while Crawford has clearly established himself as the standout fighter of his era. With his sharp precision, fluid movement, and masterful boxing skills, Crawford poses challenges that Canelo would struggle to overcome. In their view, this vulnerability could lead to Canelo being thoroughly outclassed and convincingly defeated.
Him back in the ring with Terence Crawford, not too soon. Maybe you take a year off and then come back and work your way to the 154, 160 division, and Terence Crawford be there and y'all want to meet again. That's cool. That's cool. But you don't need to be going back in the ring with him this December. I know that much.
Stephen A. Smith argues that Canelo Alvarez depends too much on his power punches, assuming sheer strength is enough to guarantee victory. He insists this strategy won't work against Terence Crawford, a fighter who excels through skill, movement, and precision. Smith emphasizes that defeating Crawford requires more than just heavy shots, and Canelo's predictable reliance on power will fall short against Crawford's superior ring IQ and tactical brilliance.
You got a love for boxing.
Yes, love boxing.
Who gonna win the fight, man? That's coming up, the biggest
Crawford.
fight in boxing.
Crawford.
Huh?
Crawford. I'm not hesitating. Crawford. I'm not even hesitating. Crawford.
You gonna stand on that all the way to September 13th?
I love Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo by decision. I can't see anybody knocking out Canelo Alvarez. But I do believe that if you can box and you can move, that you can beat Canelo. You can outpoint him.
That's right.
When I think about Canelo, one of the things that I don't like about Canelo, despite his greatness, and a neck as wide as Broadway for crying out loud,
Right.
it's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yeah.
That's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally bigger, strong fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's gonna go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight, and Crawford is not. And Canelo is a genius in this regard. You don't see him show up for fights not ready. He's always ready.
Always prepared.
He's always ready.
gotta give
He's
him
always
that.
prepared. So I think he's the slower fighter, though. And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab and movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because he's faster.
Max Kellerman's analysis highlights the contrast between skill and physicality in a potential Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford showdown. He notes that Crawford's jab has become one of the most effective tools in boxing, allowing him to control range and dictate the tempo of a fight. By comparison, Canelo's jab has lost some of its sharpness, forcing him to rely more on power and counterpunching. Kellerman emphasizes that Crawford's precision, timing, and ring IQ could offset Canelo's size advantage, showing that adaptability and tactical mastery may ultimately outweigh brute strength if the two face off.
Crawford.
Best defense.
Crawford. Nowadays, Crawford. I would say early in the fight, Canelo. And earlier in his career, Canelo. But he hasn't been that kind of fighter in recent years. Although Crawford is also hittable. With any fighter, when you talk about their defense, the question is not, can they be hit with a shot? You take punches. Everyone, the greatest defensive fighters ever get hit. Pernell Whitaker, Willie Pep, Floyd Mayweather, they all get hit. The question is, can you hit them with combinations? And both guys are hard to hit. With the two-piece, hard to hit.
So who has the best footwork out of the two?
In terms of cutting off the ring, last fight notwithstanding, Canelo has gotten much better at cutting off the ring. But early in his career, he had a problem with that and was much more comfortable counterpunching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him.
Timothy Bradley Jr. draws a striking parallel between the doubts once cast on Muhammad Ali and the skepticism now surrounding Terence Crawford. He recalls how many believed Ali had no chance against George Foreman's overwhelming size, and only for Ali to prove them wrong with strategy, intelligence, and resilience. Bradley sees a similar narrative unfolding with critics who claim Crawford cannot defeat Canelo Alvarez due to the size difference. But Bradley argues that true greatness is defined not by physical stature, by determination, skill, and preparation. He notes that Crawford has dedicated an entire year of training specifically for Canelo, demonstrating his commitment to overcoming the odds, just as Ali once did.
They said Ali couldn't beat George Foreman. Yep. They said that Jack Dempsey couldn't beat Jess Willard. Yeah, 6'6", Jess Willard, 250 plus pounds. Little old Jack Dempsey knocked him out. Yeah, they saying Terence Crawford can't beat no Canelo Alvarez. I beg to differ. He gonna smash Canelo Alvarez, man. I'm telling y'all right now. He gonna smash Canelo Alvarez. It's not gonna even be a fair fight. I promise you that. It's not going to be a fair fight, because the minute he get acclimated to that punching power, it's going to be over for Canelo Alvarez. Yeah, that wide swinging left hook, them big looping right hands. Oh, he can straighten that right hand. You don't think they're going to be ready for that? Crawford and his team are the best in the business. Yeah, best in the business. Crawford has trained for this for an entire year. 1 year for one man. Thinking about him every day when he's out there grinding, watching video, studying film. Yeah, everybody talking about the weight. Ooh, the weight, he too heavy. Tell, it was weight classes for a reason, and all of this crap. Man, you think greatness is just built on just being comfortable? Greatness is built on being uncomfortable. Yeah, before we even landed on the moon, it was an idea, right? It was an idea, and then they brought it to life, and we landed on the moon. I know there's some conspiracy theories out there saying that we didn't land on the moon, but you know what the hell I'm talking about. You get it? Yeah, we talk about size. Like, size is everything. What about skill? What about mentality?
Bernie the boxer firmly rejects the notion that Terence Crawford is too small for this match. He argues that Crawford's frame and physical presence have long been underestimated, and his success in higher weight classes proves he can more than hold his own. Bernie stresses that Crawford isn't just a smaller fighter recklessly moving up, but a calculated, intelligent competitor who knows how to deal with bigger opponents. In his view, the true deciding factor won't be size, but the ability to think, adapt, and outmaneuver inside the ring. He adds that Crawford and his team take pride in being sharper and better prepared than Canelo's camp, a difference that could ultimately swing the fight in Crawford's favor.
Crawford, you've seen him in the gym, but have you seen the best Crawford under the lights, you think?
When they say the best Crawford, I don't know. I like all Crawfords, how you do. You know, that's what makes him a dynamic champion. You know what I'm saying? The best Crawford is what it takes to win. You know what I mean? Now, some fights are more interested than others. As far as, like I say, the fight with Klimov was a kind of a slow fight. You know, and maybe the Madrimov was a slow fight. Benavidez was kind of a slow fight until he knocked him out. But he was doing a lot of great things in there. So buzz fights, they always excite. You never know what's going to happen in those fights. So the best Crawford he's always at his best.
PHX Patriot, thank you for the $2. Get the likes of BMB, best in the biz. Something when Bud walked Canelo down. No way he's too small. Fire. Let's go Crawford.
Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of people do say that. A lot of people are saying that they don't think that the walking down situation will happen because of the wrestling background. the grapplings, the tactics, you know, the balance and stuff like that. Stuff that Bud knows how to do because of his, you know, wrestling background. What would you say?
Man, I don't know nothing about no wrestling background. I mean, he did wrestle for, but he was not no national champion wrestler. He was not no real high school wrestler where he was wrestling all his years in high school. He wrestled. The man is just a freak of nature. He's an athlete. You understand? That's what it is. So his specialty is boxing. Okay, now he's strong as an ox. That's where his shit coming from. So they're not wrestling. It's not gonna be no fucking wrestling. You feel me? He doing strength and conditioning training. He's strong as an ox, like we already know that. His hands is like baseball mitts.
Canelo Alvarez has approached this fight with humility and respect, openly acknowledging Terence Crawford as a legitimate threat. Despite being the naturally smaller man, he has stated that at the highest level of boxing, weight becomes less decisive, since elite fighters know how to adjust and compete across divisions. This perspective makes it clear that Canelo is not underestimating Crawford or viewing him as an easy opponent. Instead, he is preparing with complete focus and discipline, recognizing that success will depend as much on skill and strategy as on size and power. Professionalism shows an awareness that Crawford's unique style demands more than his usual strengths, suggesting fans will see both fighters performing at their absolute best.
Me because Terence is a smaller guy, and why do I need to fight this guy? For you, what changed? Tell me about the moment where you're like, you know what? Maybe I'll do this. This sounds like a good idea.
No, if you're thinking about it, look how big turns this fight. It's big fight. No, that's why made me change. But you know, I've been in his situation before, jumping weight classes, and when you're a good fighter, that doesn't matter. So I'm not gonna focus on that. I'm gonna focus on training very hard because Crawford is very good fighter.
Yeah, tell me about your experience with that, because now it's reversed. He's coming up in weight. What could be dangerous? What aren't we seeing that maybe you see in this fight?
No, everything. He's a good fighter. Obviously, I know that, and I need to be careful. I need to be careful in everything. So I see everything. And
Shakur Stevenson has voiced complete confidence in Terence Crawford's ability to beat Canelo Alvarez. Drawing from first-hand experience in training camps, Stevenson explains that Crawford has been sparring with fighters equal to or even bigger than Canelo and dominating them. He points out that while Canelo's chin has long been considered one of his greatest strengths, it won't hold up if he's repeatedly tagged with sharp, precise punches. Stevenson emphasizes that at this elite level, success isn't about how much punishment you can take, how well you avoid clean shots. With Crawford's exceptional accuracy ensuring every punch has impact, Stevenson believes he has all the tools needed to overcome both Canelo's size and durability.
Honestly, like, as of right now, I think Bud to beat Canelo. It's not gonna switch. There's nothing that's gonna change what I feel.
You've been feeling like that since day one. I think, but now nobody never thought about that fight like that, because when you were saying nobody was thinking about that fight because not even Bud Crawford.
Crazy. Everybody thought I was crazy.
I still think it's crazy though. For me, I still think it's crazy. But like you said, I'm not exactly.